Level 1. The call. It starts with a number you don't recognize. You answer anyway. You always do. There's a pause on the other end, just long enough to feel intentional. Like they're deciding if you're worth the time. You've had calls like this before. Not many. Just enough to understand what it means when someone doesn't introduce themselves. This isn't random. This is work. You don't ask questions you don't need the answers to. That's one of the first things you learned. A few seconds later, the call ends. No explanation, no confirmation. Then the message comes through. An address, a name, a photo. A man in his 40s standing outside a glass building, smiling like everything is exactly where it should be. You look at it for a moment longer than necessary. Not because you're unsure, just because you're already thinking ahead. You don't focus on who he is. You focus on what needs to change. You've done things like this before, small ones. Quiet adjustments. Nothing that draws attention, this one feels the same. Just cleaner. You leave your place a little after 7. No rush, no hesitation. By now, you know better than to overthink the beginning. It's the middle that matters. By 9:13, it's done. The meeting he was supposed to attend never happens. His name disappears from the deal before anyone can question it. By morning, someone else is in his position, and no one seems to find that strange. Clean, quiet, temporary. Exactly how it's supposed to be. You're already home by the time it settles. The next morning, the money shows up. $25,000, no message, no confirmation. Just proof that you did what was expected. You don't react. You don't spend it. You don't even move it right away. You just let it sit there. Because now they know your number. And you answered. Level 2. The pattern. The next call doesn't take long. You don't check the number this time. You already know what it is. There's no hesitation now. Not in your hand, not in your voice, not in your head. The pause on the other end is shorter, like they've already made their decision about you. The message comes through the same way. An address, a name, a situation that needs to be adjusted. You look at it once, that's all it takes now. You've started to notice something. These aren't random. The people, the timing, the outcomes, they connect, not directly, but enough to form a pattern. You don't understand the full picture yet, but you're starting to see where things overlap. Who benefits, who disappears, who gets replaced. This one is slightly different. Not harder, just more visible, more people around, more moving parts. It requires better timing. You leave a little earlier this time. You've already thought through most of it before stepping outside. By the time you arrive, you're not reacting. You're adjusting. Small things, positioning, timing, presence. Nothing obvious. Nothing that draws attention. Just enough to shift the outcome. By 10:02, it's done. The situation corrects itself. A conversation doesn't happen. A decision gets delayed. Someone else steps in at the right moment. No one questions it. Because nothing looks wrong. That's the part you're starting to understand. It doesn't have to disappear completely, it just has to change direction. By morning, the result is already in place. Clean, quiet, expected. The money comes through again. More this time. You don't check the exact number right away. You already know what it means. You're not just completing tasks anymore. You're starting to see how they fit together. And more importantly, you're starting to see where you fit. Level 3. The setup. You check the message immediately. Another target, another situation. The address looks familiar this time. The person's habits are predictable. You've done enough work to notice these patterns. No hesitation. You grab your gear. Minimal, efficient. Every item is where it should be. You don't need to think, you only move. The streets are quieter than usual. Evening light fades behind buildings, long shadows stretching across alleyways. You keep your pace slow but purposeful. No one notices because no one's paying attention, but you see everything. By the time you arrive, you've already visualized the outcome. Where each person will be, how the environment will react. Small adjustments you make with a glance or a step ripple quietly. Nothing violent, nothing chaotic, just control. You pause outside the building. Security cameras, a night guard walking the perimeter, a delivery van parked in the wrong spot. You move slightly to the left. Wait. A person steps out of line. The ripple begins. Inside, the meeting room is prepped. Chairs slightly off, papers shuffled. You never touch them, yet everything falls perfectly into place. By the time the key person enters, the outcome is already determined. They don't notice, they shouldn't. The system corrects itself. One small absence, one subtle distraction, and the meeting collapses quietly. Outside again, you disappear into the shadows. The city hums. Another task complete. By morning, the payment hits your account. Larger than before. $25,000. Clean, discreet, proof of effectiveness. You don't react. You never celebrate. You simply wait for the next signal. Because now they know your method, and you've just increased your influence. Level 4. The complication. The phone vibrates. Unknown number. You answer without thinking. No greeting, just silence. Then a voice, calm, precise, measured. No names, no explanation. Just, there's a situation, immediate, crowded, visible, sensitive. You glance at the clock. 6:19 p.m. Perfect timing. A message arrives instantly. Address, name, photo, a gala, black tie, dozens of guests, security cameras everywhere. One man in particular, the target. Smiling, confident, unaware of what's coming. You study it. Not the man, not the crowd, the gaps. The spaces between people where influence can quietly exist. You leave as the sky turns orange. The city hums. Traffic, neon lights, moving shadows. You're a ghost among them. The gala is a symphony of distractions. Guests laugh, servers bustle, cameras pan. Security walks predictable paths. You slip through unnoticed, your movement small, deliberate, like water finding its way. A misplaced program on a table, a subtly switched envelope, a security camera briefly blocked. No one notices, no one questions. The exposure vanishes before it can ever happen. By 11:47 p.m., the event continues uninterrupted. No mistakes, no panic, no whispers about what could have gone wrong. You leave the building the way you came in. Quiet streets, neon reflections in puddles, the city unaware. By midnight, the payment appears in your account. No text, no thanks, just confirmation. Proof that the task is complete. You sit. Still. Waiting. Because they know now. They called. You answered. And the problem? Disappeared. Level 5. The recognition. The phone doesn't ring this time, it just vibrates once. And when you check it, the message is already there waiting. There's no name, no photo, no explanation. Just a location and a time. You look at it a little longer than usual because for the first time, there's nothing obvious to do. No situation outlined. No person attached, no clear outcome that needs to be forced into place. Which means this isn't about the work. You leave early, not rushed, just deliberate, moving the same way you always do when something matters more than it looks. The location is exactly what you expect. Quiet, controlled, the kind of place where nothing appears important on the surface, but everything happening inside carries weight. When you step in, you don't move like you're there to change anything, because you're not. You slow down, take in the room, and start watching. You pay attention to movement first, then to patterns, because that's where the structure always reveals itself. You notice who speaks, who waits, and more importantly, who doesn't need to do either. It doesn't take long to find the center. It never does. There's a man positioned just far enough from the main flow to look irrelevant, but everything around him adjusts in subtle ways, like timing itself is bending in his direction. You don't approach him, because you don't need to. That's not what this is about. Level 6. The wait. The next time your phone goes off, it's in the middle of the night, and you're already awake before it finishes vibrating. By the time you check it, everything is there. 3 names, 3 locations. Same time window. You read it once, then again, because you already understand what it means. This isn't execution. It's selection. You can only reach one. The other 2 won't hold, and whatever happens there becomes part of the outcome. You sit still for a moment, letting that settle. Each option carries something different. One stabilizes money. One holds a position. One protects something that doesn't look important yet. You don't think in terms of distance or timing, you think in terms of consequence. Which one matters? And where that leaves you after. Once you decide, you don't revisit it. You move. The execution is clean and controlled, exactly how it needs to be. By the time it's done, the situation you chose resolves perfectly. The other two don't. You don't see it happen, but you feel it later. Something weakens. Something shifts too early. Something disappears from where it was meant to stay. Your phone stays quiet longer than usual. Then a single update appears. No detail. Just record. You look at it briefly, then put it away. Because now it's clear. You're not being judged by what you fix. You're being judged by what you're willing to let fail. Level 7. The access. The message is minimal, just a time and a location. You arrive early, like always. The entrance is easy to miss, but before you reach it, the door opens. Inside, everything is controlled and intentional. The spacing, the lighting, even the silence feels structured. 3 people are already there, seated and waiting. No one speaks when you enter. They don't need to. After a moment, a screen activates behind them. What appears isn't random. It's structured. Connections, movements, outcomes, linked in ways you haven't seen before. At first, only fragments are familiar. Then it becomes clear. Situations you handled, moments you adjusted, outcomes you shaped without seeing what they were part of. Now you see more. Not everything, but enough to understand the scale. It's larger than expected, but more precise too, like nothing inside it happens without design. You've been inside this system the entire time, just without visibility. Until now. Then a new situation appears. More complex, more exposed. No clear entry point. No instruction follows. You expected that. So you study it and start building your own path, shaping what it could become, instead of searching for what it should be. Because now the role has changed. You're not being given tasks anymore. You're being given outcomes. Level 8. The position. After that, the calls stop completely. At first you notice it. The missing rhythm, the absence of something coming through. But you adjust. At this level, silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means something is expected. You stop waiting for problems and start moving before they form. You catch patterns early, shift things quietly, remove situations before they're even recognized. Everything feels smoother, more controlled, like the system is stabilizing around the way you operate. You begin to see movements before they happen, decisions before they're made, connections before they exist. And then something shifts. Not small, wide and immediate. Multiple systems reacting at once without coordination. Too fast, too connected. This isn't a situation. It's a break in structure, and nothing comes through. No message, no instruction. You already understand why. This one belongs to you. You take a moment, then start tracing it back. Through layers, through reactions, until you find the origin. It isn't a person. It's a decision. Made too early, made wrong. Everything after it has been adjusting in ways it wasn't meant to. So you start making changes. Small at first, then larger. Redirecting pressure. Holding certain points in place while letting others collapse. Time stops mattering. Only control does. Eventually, it stabilizes. Not perfectly, but enough. Your phone lights up. A transfer. Larger than anything before. No message. You lock the screen. Because now you understand, the money isn't the signal. The silence is. You're no longer guided. You're relied on. And somewhere beyond all of this, something higher is still watching. Not to control what you do, just to see what you do next. Because now you don't just make problems disappear. You decide what gets to exist.